Hi everyone and welcome to Season 4 of the Ruin Hammer Live Show, where we talk all things One New Zealand Warriors. Thank you all for joining us. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Warriors' sensational win in Wollongong against the Dragons. And we're going to preview this week's sold-out blockbuster against the Rabbits at home in Auckland. Joining me tonight as usual is my good mate and co-host Warrior Roo, Rob. How are you tonight, mate? How have you been?
Yeah, doing well, thanks, mate. Great to be back talking footy again with you, and g'day to everyone who's watching on YouTube as well. Great to have you with us. It's been a pretty good start to the week for me. Nothing too much eventful, but there has been a Guzman y Gomez store open up. So my lovely wife has just been out waiting in a queue for 1 hour to get some $5 burritos, and they've just arrived, but I will enjoy those after the show. But yeah, mate.
Of course you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, pretty good. Just going through the aftermath of the last couple of weeks. Mum's joined us tonight. Hi, Mum. How are you? Mum moved into a new place this week. Sold the house up the Central Coast, as I said last week, and she's relocated down to Sydney, so she's closer to us. So been going back and forth. Helping her get her house ready. So good to see you joining us tonight, Mum, and watching some decent stuff rather than the garbage that's on TV. Always good to watch. Yeah. Always good to watch the Ruin Hammer show. But yeah, mate, I've been good. Looking forward to kind of get some normality back into life now too. Get back to work and all that kind of stuff. But like I said last week, there's no better way than getting a bit of normality back into life than talking about Warriors football. So as I said at the start of the show, we're going to chat all things Warriors tonight. We're going to talk about that wonderful win in Wollongong. But before we get into the show, I invite you all, if you haven't already done so, to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel to show your support of our streaming content that we do create. Subscribing helps build the channel and puts you in the draw to win some exclusive Ruin Hammer merch whenever we reach a nominated subscriber milestone. So please subscribe to show your support. And I'd also like to acknowledge and thank our wonderful supporters and subscribers, particularly all of our YouTube subscribers and our awesome Patreon subscribers whose donations and support enables us to upgrade our visual presentation via StreamYard to bring you the content and the guests you all enjoy so much.
Yeah, mate, I would just like to acknowledge, as you said, all of our bronze tier Patreons. And as you said again, thank you so much for your support. But I'd like to give an extra special shout out to our gold tier Patreons. We now have 3 of you legends. As we said last week, Alf to Alave, thanks, mate. You were our very first gold Patreon. I hope you're enjoying the shirt there. We've also had Malcolm Earnshaw, who joined last week. So welcome, buddy. Great to have you on. He's been with us for a long time. And extra special shout out, Chris Wellington, who became a gold Patreon this week. We're sorting out the shirts for you boys as well. We'll get them to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for all your continued support and for upgrading your Patreon from the bronze tier all the way up to the gold tier. So we thank you guys so much from the bottom of our hearts for your ongoing support.
Absolutely, mate. Fabulous support from those 3 legends. We do appreciate it very, very much. Okay, mate, let's get into that wonderful win in Wollongong last Friday night. A fantastic performance from the One New Zealand Warriors. It was the Warriors 48. Over the Dragons 18 for the Warriors. 4 tries to Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, and then a try each to Marcelo Montoya, Bailey Sirinen, Jackson Ford, and Sean Johnson and Rocco Berry. Johnson with 6 from 9 goals. And then for the Dragons, their 18 points came from tries to Sloane Musgrove and Francis Molo. Zach Lomax kicking 3 from 3 goals. Mate, there was no changes to either side prior to the kickoff, with both sides 1 to 17 as listed. For the Warriors, though, fan favourite Josh Curran played his milestone 50th club game 1 week after playing his 50th NRL game. So congratulations to Josh.
Well done,
mate, do you want to take us? Yeah, do you want to take us through the key moments of the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So we ventured down to Wynn Stadium on Wollongong, and our record there, just as our record against the Dragons is terrible, absolutely terrible. We've had 1 win there in the last, I think, 25 years, and that was the last time we played there in 2018. Other than that, you've got to go back to 1996 when we beat the Steelers there. So I was quite nervous before the game. Geez, it's just one of those grounds that just fills you with a bit of dread. But anyway, The Warriors, they had an early mistake, and Montoya lost the ball in only the second set of the match. Unfortunately, and we've touched on this a little bit, he does have, Hectic Montoya does have those kind of mistakes in his game, so he'll be looking to get rid of those ASAP. But we hold on for that trademark 2023 resilient defence. And Ravalawa, he had a drop ball himself from a Johnson bomb on the Warriors' next attacking set, and resulting in a repeat set on the Dragons' line. And with some great attacking shape, we had runners around the ball, and then a shift to the right sees DWZ score his first try of the match in the 5th minute, virtually untouched. That was a very good start. But again, an error in the set after points. Harris walking off the mark with an incorrect play the ball, and the Dragons apply some pressure, and they force a dropout. But as we've seen so often this season, we were able to reclaim possession from a short dropout. And this is becoming a little bit of a weapon and a little bit of a commonality in the NRL at the moment. Montoya, then he scored on the back of some good attack, but the try is denied due to some obstruction, and after a few replays, rightly so. And then a pattern of making these mistakes while in possession started creeping into the Warriors' play. These errors in the first 15 minutes whilst in possession, and that gave the Dragons cheap possession. And we were made to pay for some early complacency, it must be said, with a try to Tyrell Sloan. He beat Pompey all ends up, and with a spread on the outside, and scored a pretty easy try under the sticks. And then it sort of was compounded with Wade Egan forced off with a HIA in the 18th minute, and that brought Sirinen into the game a lot earlier than we had expected. Tyrell Sloan was a bit of a menace, bit of a thorn in our side out there as well. He's so fast and elusive, and every touch he looked dangerous. And Walker, this was quite pivotal actually. I thought this was a bit of a turning point in that first half. In the 21st minute, he comes onto the field for his first game since round 11. And the Warriors, with a repeat set courtesy off a Walker kick and some good attack pressure, sees Metcalf with a long pass out to Montoya, and he was able to score in the left corner. Really good effort to get the ball down, actually. Plenty of attention. He beat Sloan and Lomax to get the ball down there. And then a successful captain's challenge from us puts us on the attack. Then Sirinen comes up with a try from a Sean Johnson grubber kick. The bunker took a lot of looks at this one. Eventually confirmed. I think it was revealed that he did get half a fingernail on the ball. They couldn't have been much more than that. It looked very dusty indeed. Eventually confirmed, and after another Johnson kick put pressure on Sloan, Walker with the take, and then Ford basically with a one-on-one steal off his own player in the air. I love this one. He took the ball out of Walker's hands, and he raced away to score under the post. He must have loved that, scoring against his old club, the club that didn't want him and said he wasn't first-grade material. Started a good game for him. And Johnson's conversion gave us a pretty handy 20 points to 6 lead at halftime, but it definitely could have been a lot larger.
It could have been. We had a good share of the possession. We had 62% possession in that first half. We only completed at 78%. And I say only completed because the Warriors have had a high completion rate this year. We've been completing in most games at well over 82, 83%. So completing at only 78%, it kind of kept the Dragons in that game. As you said, Tyrell Sloan was a bit of a thorn in our side in the attack. Even when he scored his try, I thought there was a little bit of complacency from Luke Metcalf, where he kind of didn't really put much pressure on him, and it allowed Sloan to come closer to the post when he did score.
I was annoyed by that as well. Yeah, it's little 1%ers. It's a small thing, but it can mean a big, like if it's a close game and you can stop 2 points going over, then, that's got to be something that's got to be in their game.
Absolutely, mate. A couple of standout performers in the first half. AFB leading the way, 118 run meters, 21 tackles in that first half. Tohu Harris, superb captain's 115 run meters and 16 tackles. Murata Niokore, really starting to come into his own in that Warriors pack now. He ran for over 100 meters in that first half. Chance Nickel-Kluxter, who's been outstanding for us at the back for over 116 run meters, 2 tackle breaks and a line break. And Sean Johnson, 2 try assists in that first half and 242 kick meters. I thought he was, really, really good around the ball. And, one of the things I did notice is that every time Sean got his hands on the ball, he had a lot of options either side of him, which is good to see.
Yeah, very good. Absolutely. So moving on to the second half of this game, and it was a very even start to that second half. And Johnson continuing to cause headaches for Ravalawa with his kicking game, and not even opting to catch the ball. Then 3 minutes into the second half, Murata Niokore, he sent to the sin bin for a high tackle on Moses Sully. Didn't appear to be a lot in it in first glance, but there was shoulder contact to the head. So yeah, he was 10 minutes on the sideline. And that is the third time this season that he's been sin bin for contact to the head. So the Warriors reduced to 12 men, and then the Dragons with an opportunity early in the set inside the Warriors' 20-metre line. And then after another successful captain's challenge from the Dragons, they retained possession. And then a try to Zane Musgrove for the Dragons, taking advantage of that extra man. He scores under the sticks, and that gets the score back to 20 points to 12. And with a man down and still plenty of time left in his sin bin stint, he's starting to get a little bit nervous here. But the Warriors hit back almost immediately and a try to Dallin after a Luke Metcalf break, backing up from good awareness from Pompey as well to put Metcalf away. Dallin's fourth try double this season, and then Johnson scores a beautiful try running off AFB. Off an offload to put us ahead 30 to 12 with 25 minutes remaining. And now you're starting to think it's really sort of opened up now and this score could be anything. Then the first time in 4 seasons, the Warriors have scored 30 points in 3 consecutive games. So that was a very encouraging stat as well. The Warriors go back to back to back as well. DWZ with some amazing footwork and then a very late offload. Rocco Berry went over for his first try of the season. Well done. And the Warriors playing with so much confidence and energy, just making meters at will and possession. We were just absolutely carving them up at this point. And the Dragons with their best chance of the half, attacking the Warriors line. But again, the Warriors' resilient goal line defense came to the fore again. And then some poor handling errors from both teams in the respective early in the respective tackle counts showed some complacency from both teams. And this was the area of the game that I was a little bit disappointed with. We kind of deteriorated and sort of fell down to their level a little bit. We started making mistakes as well, coming off our own line, and Webby definitely wouldn't have been happy with that. And then the Dragons, they have more good field position, and they get a try to Francis Molo from a Ben Hunt grubber. The CNK failed to wrap up in a rare error. It was kind of a weird one. He sort of like grabbed the ball and grounded it in the one movement. I don't think I've ever seen that before. You got to have big mitts to do that. So that got them to 18 points. And again, as we did all night, we hit back through some good shape and put Dallin away down the sideline. And that was his first career hat trick, which I found a bit of an interesting stat because he'd been in all those really good Penrith sides for a long time. But that was his first NRL hat trick. And then a minute later, he crosses for his fourth of the match to give the Warriors a comprehensive 48-18 victory. And here's another interesting stat. The last time the Warriors won 3 consecutive games by a 20-point margin was way back in 2002.
We all know what happened that year, mate, don't we? Interesting. A couple of interesting things out of this game. As you said, DWZ, amazing to think in his illustrious career that he hadn't scored a hat-trick of tries. It's very interesting to notice he's on 12 tries now for the season, which equals the most he's ever scored in a season when he was back at Penrith as well. So,
it's bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre. You touched on it in your summation of the game. There was a period in that second half where it just got really scrappy, a little bit of loss, drop ball, poor handling, and coming up against the Bunnies this week, that's something that is really going to have to be addressed at training this week.
We won't get away with that against a top quality side.
No. But yeah, the full-time stats, the possession stats, 55% possession to the Warriors, 72% completions. We had 10 line breaks, 33 tackle breaks, 298 tackles, but 26 missed tackles, which was kind of a little bit high, I thought, for this game. Massive shout-out to everyone that went down and to Wollongong and watched this game. There was a huge Warriors fan contingent down there, organised by Richie Morgan. He organised 90 tickets himself for people to go down there, so that was pretty awesome. Just a couple of guys, mate, and I'll get your thoughts on a few of these guys.
Yep.
CNK, what were your thoughts on CNK in this game?
Oh, as brilliant as ever. He's outstanding. 188 meters, 48 post contact meters, 7 tackle breaks, 1 line break, 3 line break assists, 2 try assists. What I really love is he's starting to add a bit of that ball playing into his game. He's chiming into the back line and he's linking in with those like sweeping plays. And it's one area of the game that they did. It's one kind of aspect that they did. People were saying is kind of missing from his game, like they used to say with Roger as well, which kind of does not quite put him in that upper echelon of fullbacks in our game. But he's starting to really come out of his shell in that department. So I'm very, very encouraged to see that. But mate, he is awesome. What a buy he has been. Exactly.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about Reece Walsh a little bit later on. Last year when we let Reece Walsh go, we picked up CNK, who was effectively a reserve grader at the Raiders for whatever reasons Ricky had for that. I think the Warriors of 2023, CNK suits the style of play that we're playing, probably more so than Reece Walsh. The other thing that CNK provides that was a bit of a question mark with Walshy over the past couple of seasons is his defence. He's a very good defensive fullback.
Absolutely.
CNK. So, yeah, he's having an outstanding season. You mentioned Dallin with his 4 tries. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. 211 run meters, 2 tackle breaks, 5 line breaks, 2 offloads, and a try assist for that Rocco Berry try. Shaun Johnson, mate, what are your thoughts on Shaun Johnson's game? How did you think he went in that game?
He just keeps going. It keeps getting better and better, like a fine wine. He's aging sublimely. It was interesting watching the game on Channel 9 because, as we know, we only get a Channel 9 game once in a blue moon. It was really great to hear Joey Johns and Freddie Fittler and that just rapping him and saying how good he is. And Joey was saying, like, he said, I don't think Shaun Johnson has ever played as good as he's playing right now. And once again, he was involved in absolutely everything. His kicking game is on point. We got quite a few tries from kicks, which was outstanding. And yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of running out of things to say about him every week because, I mean, coming from the bloke who said he wouldn't be in first grade at the end of this season in our preseason predictions, but mate, more than happy to be proven wrong there. It was a reverse psychology thing, boys.
Of course it was,
Sean.
Of course,
that's what I'm all about. But yeah, I'm loving what he's doing, and yeah, long may it continue. May it continue all the way until the first weekend in October.
I said it earlier when I spoke about him in the halftime breakdown. One thing that I do notice about Shaun now is every time he gets the ball, he's running onto the ball, but he's bringing players on with him, and he's got guys around him. He's always got options. He's got like lead runners. He's got shape out the back. And in this game, the contrast to that was you have a guy like Ben Hunt, who is a 300 gamer and a great player in his own right. But every time he got the ball, he kind of looked lost because he had no runners around him. And it was a massive contrast in the way that the game was played. Like 300, another 360 kick meters. And as I think it's Lee said the Clough stuff said in the comments, he's actually at the moment, I think he's favourite for the Dallin. I think it's gone. The Dallin has gone behind closed doors now, but I think when it went behind closed doors, he was up there with those players. So I mean, if the Warriors keep winning, Johnson will continue to get points.
As simple as that. Yeah, exactly right.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's that interesting thing this year where it's not just 3 points. There's 6 points up for grabs every week. So it's just amazing how well Shaun Johnson is playing, considering
astonishing, really.
Yep. The season he had last year, and the couple of seasons he had at the Sharks as well. So, kudos to him. He's reinvented himself, and he's become that playmaker that the Warriors have always wanted, and it's allowing the players around him to play their game. And one of those guys that's really benefiting from what Shaun's doing is a guy like AFB. 190 run meters, leading from the front, 60 post-contact meters, 3 tackle breaks, 3 offloads, 31 tackles, and a try assist. he's one of the form front rowers in the game, don't you think?
He just continues to dominate up the middle. He was just carving them up, through the middle. And it's probably a number of times where he could have, if he had someone running with him in that first half, could have popped a few offloads as well. He's just such a weapon.
Yep.
And I think you asked the other day, or would he be is he in the top 5 forwards in the game? Mate, he's in the top 2 front rowers in the game. And it came out during the week, I think, that he's on $1 million, mate. He's worth every cent. He's just outstanding, dominating every week. He'd be up there in the Dallin points as well, I'd imagine.
Oh, it'd have to be. And I agree with Jacko here. He is the form front row right now. I think he's overtaken the likes of Payne Haas and Junior Paulo and Josh Papali'i. I think AFB is the man at the moment. A guy we spoke about earlier, Marata Niokore, does have a sin bin in him. He's copped a 3-game suspension because of that shot that he put on. But aside from that, he had 136 run meters and 48 post-contact meters, 23 tackles. When he stays on the field, he's a really important cog in what the Warriors are doing out there. But he does need to really adjust his tackling style. Otherwise, he's going to be one of those guys that kind of gets rubbed out because of suspensions. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. He's becoming a bit of a marked man. I didn't think there was a lot in a couple of those, and maybe in years gone by, they would have just been play on, but because there's a bit of a crackdown on contact to the head. So I guess you can understand that. But aside from that, he did have a very good game himself, 136 metres, 48 post-contact and 23 tackles. So a great all-round game from him. I thought he started the season, I won't say quietly, but he wasn't a massive standout for me. I guess so. He wasn't a massive standout for me earlier in the season, but he's kind of coming into his own now, which is great. Yep. And unfortunately, he's going to have a bit of a 3-week break, but it's great, as we'll talk about a bit later, that we do have the depth to cover that.
Yeah. What did you think of Tohu Harris's game, mate? It's no secret that he's playing injured. He's got that knee injury that he's carrying into every game. Yeah. But what are your thoughts on how he played on the weekend?
Yeah. Once again, outstanding. Like another one of those guys that every week is like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Like it's like the Simon Mannering kind of mold. You know exactly what you're going to get out of him. 157 meters, 62 post contact, and 2 tackle breaks. And again, I'd like to see him look to push that offload as well a little bit. He's another one that sort of seems to get his arm free, but like he does all the stuff that everyone, like stuff that you may not notice. Like he does a lot of the cleanup work, gets through a mountain of defense, and he just keeps making meters of the ball. So once again, a fine captain's knock. Yeah,
I'm impressed with the way that he's found his voice now too, and he does kind of get in the referee's face. He does ask questions. Bit of a smart play where he slows things down for the boys as well. Mate, after that wonderful performance, who did you give your 3-2-1 points to for our Dean Bell medal for this week?
Yeah, so I went with my 3 points for Addin Fonua-Blake for all the reasons that I mentioned before. Fantastic. Once again, massive game from him. 2 points go to Dallin. I mean, it's not every day that you score 4 tries. He was brilliant. He's everything that we had needed in a winger. Speed, outstanding finishing. Like he just nails it every time in the corner. Like he never misses it. It's a bit like Fuss was for us back in 2018. So there's another parallel for you. A bit of strikeout on that edge. And 1 point goes to Sean Johnson. Just the way that he is reinventing himself, his renaissance, his rebirth, or whatever you want to call it. It's continuing, and he gets 1 point. Yourself?
Yeah. Mate, I hate the fact that we kind of think alike. It'd be nice if we had a bit of contrasting thoughts every now and then, but I agree. I went 3 points to AFB for the exact same reasons that you said. Without his go forward, we don't get in the position that we're in for Dallin to score those 4 tries. I gave Dallin 2 points. As you said, it's not every day you score 4 tries. take it from Alex Farless. Not every day you score 1 try. So to knock up four tries in a game is pretty good. And again, 1 point to Sean Johnson. I think that everything that the Warriors are doing right comes off the back of Sean Johnson's decision making. And yeah, he rightly deserves the 1 point in this game. So that gave our points. We gave 6 points to AFB, 4 to DWZ, and 2 to Sean Johnson. So our Dean Bell medal tally at the moment, Adam Fanua-Blake is leading on 42 points, ahead of Sean Johnson on 36. Chance Nickel-Kluckster on 31, Tohu Harris on 21, and that's the best of who there is at the moment. Wade Egan, fair way back, 7 points behind on 14. And Dallin with a couple of points, pushing him ahead of Jazz now with 9. So that's really starting to heat up. I think, if the Warriors keep winning, as we said, Sean's a kind of guy that's going to get points. Adam's the kind of guy that's going to get points. I think it's going to come down to those top 3 guys this year for our points. There's a bit of talk in the chat here about Adam Pompey, that his rocks and diamonds. He's probably not going to be at the club next year. The Knights do have a bit of interest in him. Let's talk about a bit of NRL news, mate. There's not a lot of Warriors news to talk about, but there has been a little bit of news. Now, I don't know if you're aware or not. I might have read it somewhere, but apparently Ben Hunt wants out of the Dragons.
Are you sure about that? Is your source reliable?
My source is reliable. It was Ben Hunt himself. He wants out of the Dragons. The Dragons are kind of standing tough on this at the moment. What are your thoughts on how the whole Ben Hunt saga is coming out? Because for me, if the Dragons turn around and show a lack of backbone and allow him to leave, I think there's going to be a mass exodus of players wanting to do the same thing from the Dragons. I think for the sake of their 2023 roster, they kind of got to put the foot down and say, you're not leaving this year. Whether he's there or not next year is another thing. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Ben Hunt. What are your thoughts on the whole Ben Hunt thing, mate?
Geez, what a nightmare! It continues the diabolical way that the Dragons season is just capitulating. You honestly need the Benny Hill music in the background. Yeah, exactly. But hey, good on them for holding their position on the contract. A contract, sooner or later, contract has got to mean something. It can't just be an optional, I signed 3 years, but I might leave after 1, or I think I can just leave after 2, It's great that they're sticking to their guns and they're making him see out the season. And apparently a statement came out today or yesterday, he no longer wants a release from the club. Whatever happened behind closed doors, okay, he's just suddenly changed his mind. They convinced him. Yeah. The part that annoyed me the most was everyone was carrying on like it was a foregone conclusion. So everyone's saying, Ben Hunt, he's going to get released. He's going to go to Brisbane and play 9, even though he said he didn't want to play 9 at the Dragons, but he's happy to go to the Broncos on top of the table and play 9. Yeah. And then he'd already, the thing is, it sounded like he'd already sorted out his future for the next 3 years. There's only one catch. He hadn't secured a release from his contract. So it's like, I'm going to go to the Broncos. I'm going to win a premiership. Then I'm going to go to the Titans for 2 years. So I've already got everything sorted. And Dragons like, no, you haven't. We're going to hold you to this contract. And I was glad that they took that stance. It was just becoming a bit of a circus. You can't just turn around and suddenly decide, I don't want to play for this team anymore. Oh, we're losing. I don't want to play for this team anymore. You signed the deal, mate. You get paid very good money. And you're the most experienced player in the team. So, and the captain. Yeah. So he's got to think about it. It's like the whole
Pangai Junior thing, isn't it? Where he left and went to the Panthers and won a premiership. As a hired assassin. That really shit me when that happened last year or the year before. As Jacko says, it's the Dragons holding Hunt to contract is Flanagan at work. And I said that the other day. If Shane Flanagan wasn't the appointed coach for next year, I don't think the Dragons would have had the backbone to kind of stand up to Ben Hunt. I thought that I reckon they would have let him go, but this is all Shane Flanagan saying no.
Hang on a second, boys. Yeah, exactly.
Because the thing is, and the thing is, and we'll move into this now. Like if Ben Hunt leaves the Dragons, Yeah. If Ben Hunt leaves the Dragons, then what halfbacks are available to fill that void? Because the Tigers are going to go through that now. Luke Brooks has been signed by Manly on a 4-year deal. Luke Brooks came out last week and said he'd knocked back the offer from the Tigers. This week it's been announced that he's signed at Manly for 4 years, which really puts the Tigers in a bit of a bind now because there is no reliable first-grade halfbacks that are now on the market. So Luke Brooks going to Manly. He's going to be a backup to, obviously he's going to play 6 to Dally Cherry Evans. It also means that they've got a ready-made halfback if Cherry Evans A gets injured, B plays Origin, or C chooses to retire in the next couple of years within this 4-year period. What are your thoughts on Brooks going to Manly, mate? It was a kind of out of left field kind of signing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've got to say a 4-year deal. I think everyone's just kind of assuming that now that he's going to leave the Tigers, everything's going to be better. Like it's almost like the Tigers were the problem, and him going to Manly, playing alongside an experienced half like DCE, it's going to unlock his game and everything. Everyone's sort of putting a lot of weight on that. Certainly, Siebes certainly is anyway. He had to leave the Tigers. Let's face it. I think for his own mental health. I think he just had to get out of that joint. He'd been there for a decade and they haven't made the finals. It's clearly not working. He needs a break. I didn't think he'd go to Manly. As I said, surprised at the length of the contract. But Siebes knows a thing or two about long contracts, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. He's a big fan of the long contract.
He is. Look, it's one of those things where we're all just going to have to wait and see. Who knows how it's going to go? Could be a masterstroke. Could unlock Luke Brooks, I guess. If it really is all the pressure that's been getting to him about running the show, then playing alongside DCE might be exactly what he needs. But yeah, they went on a bit of a signing spree, Manly, didn't they? They picked up a few other guys, re-signed some guys. Also, Schuster getting re-signed also on a 3-year deal, which was an interesting one because they were saying he might be the casualty of them signing Brooks. But that's an interesting one. So I don't know where you see Schuster fitting into that side because obviously won't be the halves.
No, and that's the thing. They let Kieran Foran go at the end of last year because Schuster threw his toys out of the cot and he said he wanted to play at 6. They've done the experiment with Schuster at 6, and he's not a 6. He doesn't have the speed to play at 6. He's got great vision, and he does have a really good pass on him, but he doesn't have the speed to play at 6. And they've re-signed him on 3 years. And this was after they signed Brooks. So he knows that he's going to be shifted to an edge, or he's going to play 13, which will mean Jake Trbojevic goes into the front row along with Paseka, and then they've got Kelma Tuolungi and Hamale Olakawatu as their edge back row. So it's a pretty formidable pack that they're putting together, Manly.
Yeah, it's decent on paper. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They did re-sign Tolatau Kula as well, who's a great outside back, and they've also bought Tommy Talau, which I thought was an interesting one. In the aftermath of that,
Tigers.
In the aftermath of that, the Fainu brothers, Latu Fainu and I can't remember the name of the other Fainu brother, are now in contract talks with Sam Weller, I think it is, are now in talks with Manly because their other brother is now in talks with the Tigers because their other brother is at the Tigers as well. So you could see those guys getting moved on, but it's an interesting one. Manly really looking to beef up their stocks for next year. The last one I want to talk about, mate, is and I know you've got a bit of a rant ready to go on this one. Reece Walsh, what did you make of this whole Reece Walsh? I wasn't talking to the ref. I was talking to my captain. And then it was Adam Reynolds came out and said, no, he was talking to the opposition. There were so many stories flying around. Walshy has since been suspended for 3 matches, which includes Origin 3, which is good. What are your thoughts on this whole Reece Walsh saga?
I've got to get my golf club because I'm about to tee off here, boys. It just was ridiculous, the whole trial, and it's like, no, this is your story. Stick to this story, and it seems like they had Fafita in there, and Fafita apparently got nervous and incriminated Reece Walsh when he was in court by saying, no, when he said that to the ref, I mean, his own player. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, I only said that because I was nervous. I don't know what to do with my hands. Yeah, it was just so amateurish, really, and I'll use the word that I'm probably going to use later on, a bit immature, to be honest. Reece Walsh, yeah. So, yeah, feel free to chime in at any time because I'm I won't say I'm not going to go full old man yelling at cloud here, but yeah. Look, I don't want to. I don't want anyone to think that I'm having a go at him as a player. He is one of the form players of the competition this year. He is an absolute attacking genius, a constant
without a
threat. He
doubt.
had an absolutely fantastic Origin series. He looks right at home in State of Origin, and let's be honest, he showed a lot of that as well in his stint with us as well. And a few of these things I'm going to touch on are not really his fault. It's kind of stuff that's out of his control. Just a few things that annoy me. The whole narrative about him. I don't know if anyone saw the post from Queensland government or something like that saying about him going from a schoolboy sensation and now he's playing for the Broncos and playing for Queensland. It's like completely ignoring the fact that he played 2 years for the Warriors. We gave him his debut. The Broncos didn't want him. Like it just completely brushes over that. And there's all this, what a sensational find he's been this year. They keep saying that on the Fox Sports, everything, and it just kind of grinds my gears a little bit. And he only becomes an ex-Warrior. Have you noticed? They say former Warrior Reece Walsh is in trouble for swearing at a referee. Otherwise, it's Broncos and Queensland superstar Reece Walsh is one of the great players this season. And again, that's not his fault. That's got nothing to do with him, obviously. And look, I know that he gave 100% when he played for the Warriors. You could see how much it meant to him when we did get a few wins for the club, and he tried his guts out, and that's never in doubt. He left it all out there on the field. You even saw right in his very last game for the club when he was desperate to get out there and try and help the team win in that final game.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm absolutely not having a go at him as a footy player, and his skills and his ability are absolutely not in doubt here. But I'm still a little bit bitter about the way he left the club, and it kind of goes back to the Ben Hunt thing. He had a contract with us, and due to personal circumstances, he was released. But as we know, we got a very good replacement in CNK, so I'm certainly not complaining about that. There were sort of some signs, and he showed a bit of this when he was with us, like stuff on the field. Like we get that he's a passionate guy, but like sort of like yelling at his own players and spraying some of his own players. And this is a young guy who only made his debut a couple of years ago, young 20-year-old kid yelling and kind of losing his cool a little bit out there on the field. And you could see that a little bit of that during his Warriors stint. Arguing with the officials, all that sort of thing, and being lured into sort of stuff on the field by being baited by other people as well and getting caught up in that sort of thing. But it's that kind of immaturity in his game is really sort of manifested now that he's moved to a much bigger market, a much bigger side in the Broncos. It's really kind of out there for everyone to see now. And I have to say, a bit of this acting like a spoiled and entitled brat on the field and someone that is perhaps believing his own hype. And I think one of the issues is he had a lot of success like immediately. Like he came into second that he made his debut for us on Anzac Day in 2021. You knew he was special because he just came up with some amazing plays. Offensively, I will say. He came up with some amazing plays and he had a really good first season. And he's great for us last year. But, having all that success almost immediately. He got selected for Origin after, was it 8 first-grade games for the Warriors as well?
Yep.
Yeah, people sort of forget that he was initially first selected for Origin when he was playing with us, but had to pull out due to injury. I think when you've got your own teammates trying to pull you into line on the field, and you turn around and again, this depends on which version of the story you want to believe. But when you turn around and start swearing at your own players and using that kind of language that he did use to your own players, if that is the angle that you believe, or whether you believe that he was directing that to the referee, but it's either way, it's a problem. It's completely unacceptable to do that kind of thing to your teammates, let alone the referee. And this now brings me on to the whole role model discussion again as well. And I know that players don't like to be known or identified as role models, but the fact is a young marketable player like Reece Walsh, who's an absolute fan favourite. Like when he came into the Warriors, he was an instant fan favourite with all of us, especially with the young kids. It's a terrible, terrible example to be setting for young footy players, young kids, anyone watching the game really. It's just all round, it's just a terrible look. And yeah, it's just this kind of bratty behaviour, self-entitled behaviour, I guess I would say.
Yep.
Thoughts?
Is it? It's a generational thing, isn't it? It seems to be guys and it's not all guys, because there is some really there's some really talented 19, 20, 21-year-old players running around out there that don't walk carry on the way that that Walsh does. And Jacko, to be fair, he says Walsh is to be fair, the Broncos leadership group and coach should have pulled him into line a while ago. And I agree, because there would have been instances, no doubt, this isn't something that's just happened. There would have been instances, no doubt, where they would have seen this kind of behaviour at training in games earlier in the year, and they could have pulled him aside and said, hey, that's not how we do things, or that's not the Broncos way, or whatever.
We're seeing a bit of a pattern here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with everything you said in regards to, what he's gone through and how he's been perceived. Hopefully this is a lesson to him. Hopefully he realises that you can't talk to A, the referee, or B, your captain, if he indeed was talking to Paddy Carrigan. That just shows disrespect for his captain as well. Pull your head in. Be a little more humble. It's kind of the same stuff that I'd say to Jerome Luai. Pull your head in, try to be a little bit more humble. These guys, regardless of whether they like it or not, when they sign contracts and become first-grade footballers, they become role models, whether they ask to be or not. It's just part of the game now. With the amount of coverage, the amount of social media and all that stuff that broadcasts the game, they become role models. And they've got to be aware of that. So, yeah.
He's just got a bit of growing up to do. It just smacks of immaturity, to be honest. All that carry on, even in State of Origin where he got sent off, and the way that he carried on as he was getting off the field, I hated that. It just showed a complete lack of maturity. He was carrying on, playing up to the crowd. They were all baited. The players were baiting him. They were getting under his skin, and you could see that. And he's going to be a target with all that. Yeah, that kind of
absolutely.
Thing,
Tristan Staylor comes in now and will replace him for the next couple of games for the Broncos. My question to you is Origin 3, it's a dead rubber. Queensland have won the series. Do they move the hammer back there or Valentine Holmes or something like that? Or do they contact a guy like Kalen Ponga who has come out and said, I'm not playing Origin this year? Does Billy ring Kalen and say, look, would you consider coming back and playing Origin this year? What are your thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, I was listening to 360 last night when they were talking about this, and they brought up, AJ Brimson, who was 18th man. So he may get a game at fullback, or, as you said, they could bring Gagai into the centres and move either Holmes or the Hammer back to fullback. But the Hammer's going so great at centre that you'd sort of all be inclined to leave him there. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if AJ Brimson gets a call up. I don't think Ponga, with the Knights not going as well as they would have hoped, I don't think that he'll be convinced to go back on his arrangement that he had to not play Origin this year.
Yeah. For me, I probably think Brimson was 18th man, I think, for the last Origin. So
Yeah.
it probably stands to reason that he might get a tap on the shoulder and say, I mean, he's played Origin before. He played
a couple of games.
Didn't he play?
Yeah.
Didn't he play in that series, the worst Queensland team ever
Yeah,
picked, and they
he
won
was.
that series?
He played in Adelaide, and then he got injured. And I think he might have played one game in 21 as well, where we got absolutely pumped off the bench.
Yep.
And I don't think he's played since then. But he's another great young player, attacking threat. So I'd be happy enough as a Queensland fan. I'd be happy enough to have him as fullback. Yeah,
the Clough stuff says Dearden at 6 and Moneybags at fullback. That's an option as well. Munster's played fullback before, and like I said,
he has.
It is a dead rubber. Queensland would love to win the series 3-0. They're not going to give away a game.
No, absolutely not.
But Dearden's a quality 6, and Money's done a job for the Storm as recently as this season at 1. So.
I wouldn't be
who knows?
Munster though. I'd be having.
I wouldn't be moving
where
either.
He is. Yeah. It's a good idea, and it's an option. But I'd be leaving him right where he is. He's killing it.
He is. Yeah. Speaking of killing it, mate. Let's have a look at the Warriors and the Rabbits game this weekend. This Friday night, a sellout at Go Media. Mount Smart Stadium, whatever they're calling that place now.
GMMSS.
It's still Mount Smart to me. Sorry, boys. I know.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. It's still Mount Smart.
Mate, I'm still calling it Ericsson Stadium sometimes. But, let's have a look at the team that Webby named to take on the
do you want to go through that, mate? Yep.
Yeah, we got Chance Nickel-Klukstad at fullback, Dallin and Marcelo Montoya on the wings, Rocco Berry and Adam Pompey in the centres again. Luke Metcalf and Sean Johnson in the halves, Adam Fanua-Blake, Wade Egan and Bunty Arfoa in the front row. Jacko Ford and Josh Curran comes into the run-on side. In the second row position there, Tohu Harris at lock. On the bench, we have Dylan Walker. Mitch Barnett returns from suspension. Bailey Sirinen and Tom Arley. On the extended bench, we have Freddie Lussick, Braden Viliami, Tonsils Volkman, Kalani Going, and Zion Mayu. Look, it's good to... Yeah, it's good to go. It's good to be. It's great to, I guess, select an almost unchanged lineup. So obviously the disruption with Niokore out, but Josh Curran is a very good, ready-made replacement in the starting lineup. So I'm very happy with that. Great to see Mitch Barnett back as well. He's been sensational since he's returned from that neck injury. Yeah, look, I'm pretty happy with this team. I think we'll go all right. What are your thoughts?
Do you think Barnett will start, and either Bunty R4 or Josh Curran moves back to the reserves bench?
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah,
he's played both. He played on the edge a fair bit at the Knights. In his stint there, and he has played front row as well. Started the season front row for us. So, I can see him and Bunty swapping actually.
Yeah, me too. I can see that happening too. Mate. Again, like you said, it's really great when we don't have disruptions to the lineup. I remember last year, every time Brownie or Stacey had to name a side, it was a different team every week because of injuries and suspensions and what have you. But this year, we've been able to kind of keep the nucleus of the side together and playing. I like it. The Rabbitohs have picked a very similar side to the team that went down last week. The only change they have is I think Jacob Host is out with a HIA. Michael Cheekam's come into the run-on side. But, for me, the Rabbits are a team under a bit of pressure now. I tipped them at the beginning of the year to be minor premiers and then go on and win the comp. And the last couple of weeks, they've struggled to find some form. Even way back when they played the Tigers, they only got that win in the last 8 minutes of that contest. It was a really close contest for a lot of that game, and they've really struggled to put results together on the field.
Yeah.
I can see the Warriors getting away with this. I think it's a different Warriors side now. We're playing with so much confidence. Our defense is so resilient. Johnson's having a stellar season. Our forwards are making meters. Our outside backs are very dangerous in scoring tries. Chance Nickel-Kluxter has been outstanding at the back for us. I can see a victory, and I think we'll get the Rabbits, and people may think I'm crazy. I think we'll get them by 13 plus. I can just see a really comprehensive victory at home, a sellout Mount Smart. It's going to be an amazing atmosphere there. I envy all our Auckland-based supporters and fans that are going to be at this
Lucky
game.
buggers.
I reckon it's going to liken to the atmosphere of the blackout back in 2008. It's just going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, well, what atmosphere that was. Well, what I understand it was anyway. I wasn't there, but I'd like to share your what's the word?
Optimism,
confidence, whatever you want to say. Look, I think we'll win, but I think it'll be quite close. I reckon, it'll be. I can see us getting away by 8. I don't think the Rabbitohs will continue to be as bad as they have been. They still got a fairly good side. Like you still got guys like Cody Walker there, and Cam Murray, and I sort of worry about Kolomatangi and those sort of guys on the edge. But we've been great defensively this year. I will bring up another stat. And everyone keeps saying to me, "Stop going on about the past. Stop going on about the history." But the Rabbitohs are another massive bogey side of ours. We've only beaten them once in the last 10 years, and that was round 1, 2018.
In Perth.
Yeah, so we really struggle with the Rabbitohs. But again, this year we're all about bucking the trend and sort of erasing some dark history of our club. So let's hope that continues. Look, I got us in a close one.
Look, I think we're a top 4 side. I honestly do. I think we're a genuine top 4 side, and if we're going to be a top 4 side, then we have to be able to beat the likes of the Rabbitohs and those kind of teams. And we have a really interesting, tough run of games coming up. We've got the Rabbitohs this week, then we play the Eels, then we play the Sharks, and then we play the Raiders again before we get a bye. And you'd like to think that, we can win most, if not all of those games heading into the bye and really setting ourselves up for a good run home. Particularly when the 3 of these next 4 games are at Mount Smart Stadium. So, all starts here. I really do think that we'll get a win, and I think it'll be comprehensive, and it'll show just how much the Bunnies do rely on a guy like Latrell Mitchell.
Bro. I see Sean's just said at least it's not at the sunny coast. So Sean and I went to that game a couple of years ago where we lost by 60, and we were just talking about it the other day. Geez, that was a long 2-hour drive home, I tell you.
Yeah, and we started so well that game. I think Dallin scored the first try of the match.
Scored the first try. Yeah, he did. And then it was before we knew it, it was 34-6 or something like that before halftime. Oh my gosh.
I know. Was that the game where Montoya fell backwards over the line and scored the try?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. That was right before halftime. We were surrounded by Bunnies fans up on the hill, and we were sitting next to people that were saying that they were Reece Walsh's family and friends, but they were all going for the Rabbitohs. Like they were all going for the Rabbitohs, but every time Reece touched the ball, like, "Go, Reece!" They're like, we were down to Melbourne. We went down to Melbourne for Reece's debut. Yet they're all there cheering on the Rabbitohs. I was like, I don't know how that worked, but anyway, don't have to worry about that anymore.
No. Jacko agrees. He says, "True Hammer, if we're a top 4, we beat this struggling Bunny side." And Malcolm Earnshaw says, after the bye, all are winnable games. They are. They are
definitely.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just set ourselves up for that by getting as many wins as possible in this period. And I think they're all winnable. I think we can win all these games. That we just have to keep doing what we're doing. And as someone said before, it might have been Jacko, cut out those silly little errors from our game and keep doing what we're doing. And, we're a really good chance of picking up almost maximum points in those fixtures before the next bye.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the other games for round 18. Thursday night, tomorrow night, kicks off with the Sharks and Dragons at PointsBet Stadium. Mate, Ben Hunt up against Nico Hines. What do you think? What's your tip for this one?
Well, they say the Sharks are flat track bullies, and they're at home, and there's no better team to flat track bully than the Dragons at the moment. I'll go Sharks by 40.
You can go Sharks by 40, mate. I'm not as optimistic as you. I think the Dragons will come out and show a better account of themselves from last week, and I'll say the Sharks by 36.
Brad, what's your tip?
yeah. Brad's on the Dragons, no doubt, for sure.
Yeah.
Friday night, the 6 o'clock game here in Australia. It's 8 o'clock kickoff at Mount Smart Stadium. Warriors versus Rabbits. We've just spoken about that. I'm going to say the Warriors. I'm going to say by 14. What's your tip, mate?
Oh, I'm going to go Warriors by 8.
Okay. The second of the Friday night games, an absolute blockbuster. I think it's first versus second, which is the Storm versus Panthers at Marvel Stadium.
Okay, so now we're starting to see this weekend. This is when we're losing the rights to all the major venues because I think it's the Women's Soccer World Cup. So that would be why this is being played at Marvel Stadium, which is that's the Docklands field, isn't it, where they play the AFL and the cricket. So we're going to see. This is the first of those affected changes. So there's no Suncorp for a while, no Amy Park for a while, no Sydney Football Stadium and that sort of thing for a while. So they're looking at alternative venues. Yep.
Yeah. So with this one, mate, Storm at pretty much at full strength. The Panthers welcome back all their Origin stars, Luai, Crichton, To'o, what's that other guy's name? Isaiah Yeo, all playing in this one. So Christian Welsh can't say under his breath that the Panthers had nobody, like he did in his press conference last week. I'm going to pick. This is a tough one. I'm going to pick the Storm at home. I'm going to pick the Storm in a close one, 2 points.
Okay, Storm. Yeah, I think the Storm will win. I think they'll win by 12.
Yeah. Okay. Super Saturday kicks off with the Raiders versus the Titans at GIO Stadium. Mate, can't get a read on the Titans. They're hot and cold. I'm going to pick the Raiders in this one at home. What's your pick?
Can I just say, for some reason, every year, whenever the the Raiders and Titans game comes up, it's always one that I watch because they always end up being really entertaining games. There's always like a lot of points scored. So for whatever reason, I'm not particularly a fan of either team, but it always just seems to be a good game to watch. Real hard to pick this one. I'm going to go with the Raiders because they're at home. So Raiders I'll say Raiders by 10.
Yeah, I'm going to say Raiders by probably about the same, probably 10 points. I think.
Yep.
I think it'll be close, but not that close. Cowboys versus Tigers, mate, at Queensland Country Bank Stadium, and haven't the Cowboys had a bit of a resurgence in the last couple of weeks? They're one game out of the top 8. I'm going to tip them to beat the Tigers in this one. I think they'll get the Tigers, and I think they'll do it pretty convincingly as well. I'm going to pick the Cowboys by at least 18. And to get themselves up into the top 8.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, I agree 100%. Toddy's got them humming up there. I'll go Cowboys by 19. They'll kick a useless field goal like we've been seeing lately. But I think, I can see them continuing their strong, rich vein of form.
And unfortunately, mate, Saturday night, it's not the Friday night, and it's definitely not a Sunday afternoon, but the Broncos up against the Dolphins. The poor old Broncos have to travel all the way to the Gabba to play a home game.
Poor babies. Yep.
Still only played 4 games outside of Queensland all year. Absolutely ridiculous going into round 18. Mate, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think the Dolphins bubble has burst. I'm going to pick the Broncos in this one, and they'll get by about 12, 13 points.
I actually think this will be close. No Reece Walsh for the Broncos. They've got a couple of other injuries. This is the period of the season where even the Broncos in their heyday used to struggle in that sort of origin period. I think they'll win, but I don't think it'll be by as much as some people think. I'll go Broncos by 8 at the Gabba. It's going to be weird, so weird watching rugby league. At the Gabba.
I know. Yeah. As you said, though, no Reece Walsh. Capel's out injured still, and they've lost Jordan Ricky. So 2 young back rowers in, I think it's
Flegler out as well.
There. Flegler's out also, yeah. So there's a couple of injuries to the Broncos, but I still think they've got the depth to get the Dolphins. Sunday footy kicks off with the Bulldogs versus the Knights at a core stadium. Mate, it's a tough one. I'll pick the Knights.
Do I have to watch this
I'll
one?
pick the Knights. Yeah, no, you don't have to watch it. I'll pick the Knights in this one, mate. But I think it'll be close, like 2 points in it.
I think so too. I think it'll be low scoring. Like I think it'll be like something like 14-10. I think the Knights might just have a little bit too much for the Bulldogs, the struggling Bulldogs there. So I'll go Knights by 4.
Absolutely. And the final game of the round, with the Eels having the bye this round, the final game of the round is the Sea Eagles versus the Roosters at 4 Points Park on the Northern Peninsula there. Man, the Roosters in all sorts of trouble. I think they've lost Nat Butcher, they've lost Satili Tupanua, they've lost Angus Crichton. Brandon Smith still not available, I don't think. I'm going to pick the Sea Eagles. I think the Sea Eagles will get them. Sea Eagles at home. I'll just go, Sea Eagles, and I think they'll get them by about 8 or 10.
Yeah, this is a tough one to pick. The Roosters and their slide. I don't know why. I'm going to pick the Roosters in this one. It'll be close. I think they've got too much class in that side to continuously put in the performances that they have. Like Joey Manu will have a big game. And I think you might see Tedesco return to form just in time for you guys to pick him in Origin again. So, look, I'll go the Roosters by 2.
Interesting. Very close. Before we close off the show, I just want to give a shout out to our mate Brad Inger. Brad's doing Shave for a Cure this week. Those of you who know Brad know that he's got a very luscious lock of long hair that he's been growing for some time now. But he's doing Shave for a Cure for cancer. Obviously, having just lost my dad to cancer, it's something that's very close to my heart. So I just want to give a massive shout out to Brad. Brad, if you're still in here, mate, if you want to put the address, the link for where people can donate money towards you, throw that up there, mate. Really supporting this and hoping that everything goes well for you on Friday, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. All the best with that. Don't forget, as always, our live shows coming up, our live events. So every Wednesday night, we're back at our usual 7:30 time slot. So make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of that. And we'll also be uploading some more of our pre-recorded content regularly. That should be up every Monday night, and that will be our NRL round review. That's on our YouTube channel. Every Monday evening. So again, make sure that you have liked and subscribed the channel so you don't miss any of that. And you can check that out every Monday and check us out live on Wednesdays.
Absolutely. Before we wrap it up, I just want to acknowledge and thank our wonderful supporters, especially our Patreon supporters, for their continued support. And just give another shout out to our gold tier patrons, Alf Tuolave, Malcolm Earnshaw, Chris Wellington. Absolutely love you guys and thank you very much for your support. If you want to show your appreciated support, you can head to our Patreon page to subscribe to either our bronze tier general support level or our silver and gold tiers, which includes supporter merchandise and other benefits. The link running across the bottom of the screen right now.
Yeah, it's also in the description on YouTube and all across our social media. Another great way that you can show your support of us is to head to our Redbubble store, where we have some fantastic stuff for you guys there. We have a great range of exclusive Ruin Hammer merchandise honouring past legends of our club, past and present, as well as some great novelty prints reliving some of the great moments in Warriors history. I've just put up a March 10, 1995 shirt with the original team on it there. If you're a bit of a Warriors history buff, we got a Magic Johnson shirt. We've got a CNK shirt. We've got heaps more stuff coming. So make sure you keep an eye on our Redbubble store. Go and check it out. Grab yourself a bargain. And also, if you want to join our Patreon gold, silver and gold packages, that also entitles you to a T-shirt or two from our Redbubble store. So, yeah, thank you to all you guys who have been supporting us through there as well. It's greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it for tonight, mate.
Done and dusted. Yeah, always great to chat footy with you, and even better after a win like that. So let's hope that we'll be doing the same thing next week. Yeah. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much for all you guys, as we said, who continue to support us, who are watching us through YouTube and who support us in all other avenues. It's greatly appreciated. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we are looking forward to the game on Friday. So go the Warriors.
Go the Warriors. If those who are going, stay safe. Catch you all next week. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care, everyone.